I think when there's no demand or when there's no expectation on something, you can just play and be like, oh, no one ever needs to see this, and that's fine.
Hey, art lovers. Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Palette. This is your host, Whitney Rosenson, owner of Art Dimensions. My guest today is an extremely talented painter from the Art Dimensions roster and an activist for women's rights and social justice, Amy Smith. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is so nice.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're here. Really glad you're here. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk.
Oh, yeah. It's a busy time right now.
I know. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's dive in. So how long have you been painting?
Oh, I think painting in the style that I've kind of created with the mixed media stuff, it's been about 6 years, I think. Before that, I was kind of figuring out what I was doing, So a lot of it was digital. I started out doing a lot of digital art, and it was just kind of collaging different photos together. And then I started playing with painting and digital illustration and things like that. So the painting series that I kind of created was about 6 years ago, and then I've continued to grow and expand on it.
Yeah. Well, why painting and collage work and murals? Why that medium rather than sculpture for you or ceramics?
Well, my dad he was an amazing sculptor, and he was a potter. He did pottery and all that. I don't think I had the opportunity yet to kind of dive into that. I see it in the future of just kind of creating 3D elements. I have an interest in it. It just didn't. I think in my circumstance, I think just creating 2D mixed media art was more of my interest in what I was exploring at the time. So I was exploring, like, I really always loved. I realized this later too, just in like the things that I would buy when I was younger. It would always be these kind of graffiti looking, like, collaged elements together. Like, my favorite purse was like this collage of different graphics and stuff. And I realized I think I was just drawn to it. So I would play around with newspapers and magazines and things like that. And then I just realized, like, I can use that as a way to kind of comment on environmentalism and recycling and upcycling and reuse and things like that.
Okay, so you've mentioned environmentalism. I want to ask you, and I would love for you to elaborate. You have your portrait series, which sort of explores social justice, women's rights. I mean, the portraits are of strong female historical women or women in history and current.
That would be the digital illustrations. Yeah.
Why do you feel it's so important to advocate for social justice and environmentalism and women's rights?
I've always had an interest. I was always questioning things and how things were and how things became in society. And I never, there's things that I'm a misfit. So I feel like I'm always questioning and always concerned about different things and how people are treated and all of that. Like, I've had that on my mind for so long that it took me a long time to figure out how to use that desire to speak on or create awareness around these issues and things like that. But just, I'm all about equity. Like, I think things need to be equitable and we need to have justice, and people are treated unfairly. So I don't personally like want to accept that, as my reality. So showing these images and being an advocate as much as I can through the art that I make, that was the way kind of recently that I understood that that's how people can contribute.
It's such a great way to contribute, and your digital illustrations are gorgeous. You sold out of the Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
You have Greta Thunberg, or is that sold out too?
Well, I had her made as like a smaller. I had her as an original that I sold. I hope to do another piece of her because I sold that one so quickly. I didn't actually get like a good photo of it.
Oh, you have to do another one.
Yeah, so I only have that one like quite small. So the other ones, the RBG, I did Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That was really nice to kind of share in what she was doing and advocating for. I did Kamala Harris, Carrie Fisher. I just did, which I thought was really cool to explore her mental health advocacy. I didn't realize how prominent she was in speaking out and the awareness that she was able to kind of cultivate around mental health. So I learned a lot doing these portraits.
So these portraits are, just so everybody knows, they are on Amy's page on the Art Dimensions website. While we're talking about them, I just want everyone to know that you can see Amy's fantastic work on the Art Dimensions website, which is artdimensionsonline.com. On the homepage, you click artists in the upper right-hand corner and then scroll down until you see her name, click her thumbnail, and this will take you to Amy's page. So you can see these digital illustrations and other original works on canvas and wood panel as well. You do painting, you do collage work, you do digital illustration. You also do city illustrations.
I was doing those. I kind of took a break doing those because I think the portraits kind of took over. And I was basing them off of travel photos. And since quarantine, I can't,
Right.
like COVID and everything, I really haven't been able to explore. And I feel much more comfortable as a photographer using my own, photography. So that has kind of taken a back seat for a minute. But I did a whole series of Chicago imagery of the city. I've done landscapes of Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and how that started. That was one of the original ways that I kind of started, was always starting with photography and then kind of building that into, I can make this into an original painting. So then I started painting the images that I was kind of creating.
You have a lot of work. I mean,
I've done a lot over the years.
Yeah, I congratulate you.
It's all fun. So that's why it's just fun to explore.
That's awesome. So how do you balance being a mom and creating your art?
I would say that I'm like more fortunate than, I don't know, other people's situations, but my husband and I we're both exploring these creative fields. That he's a writer, I'm an artist, right? So we don't have traditional job,
Right, the 9 to 5.
Yeah. So I feel like that is actually a very fortunate benefit to our situation, that I was very proud that we were able to afford his preschool. And now he started preschool. But yeah, before him getting into school, which just happened like a few months ago, it was difficult, but I can't complain. I have a partner in this, and we would just split our time. We just split. We made a decision that this is what we're doing. This is what we're passionate about, and we're gonna make it work. We just split our days. I would take care of him in the one half of the day, and he'll take care of him in the other half of the day, and that's just what
it works.
That's what we did. So really, we had a few hours a day to make some art, but it was consistent, kind of, to an extent. And you do what you have, you do what you can. He never had a nanny or daycare. We never did any of that until he went to preschool. So
I commend you. I mean, we're all so lucky that, that we have flexibility with our jobs and our hours, and me too.
When he was younger, I was still coordinating my previous job was coordinating for TV and film. So he would come and visit me for the first like 2 years or so. He would have to come visit me, at work, because I went back to work when he was like 3 or 4 months old, and it just was too much. It was a lot.
Who are some of your greatest influences?
Being self-taught, this is like, I like to use my exploration and curiosity as also a teaching, a way to teach myself about other artists. And I just came across Joan Mitchell,
Oh,
abstract artist. I love her so
I
much.
love her. Yeah.
Barbara Kruger, definitely.
Yep.
Van Gogh as a more traditional influence. Andy Warhol to an extent of his probably just bravado and color choice.
That's awesome. Do you think creativity is something you're born with or something you're taught?
I think both, because I see creativity in everything. If you're building something, if you're creating, whoever created the vaccine for this, you have to be creative in some sense of in whatever you can be creative in many aspects of what you do. I don't nail it down to just art or anything like that. So I personally believe it could be both, or it is both. Yeah.
What are your favorite materials to work with?
Well, I'm really enjoying this abstract situation where I've been using recycled materials, mostly plastics, because plastics and papers, because I want to try and use these elements that come from the process of just like painting or getting a canvas or whatever, however these elements of materials come up. I'm trying to find ways to kind of reuse them and then ultimately end with them in a painting, so that it's kind of like a full circle situation. And I'm really liking that because it gives like a really layered effect, and it's also another way of commenting on what we're consuming, what our choices are, and how we can upcycle and think beyond traditional ways.
Is there collage work in your abstract work too?
Yeah, there's recycled magazine pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's some, because I use screen when I'm making my stencils, so I'll use that screen now and I'll put it in my abstract stuff, so I can offset some of that waste too, of anything that I'm using there. I can put into the abstract art. And then any other little tidbits of material or plastics that come from the wrappings of things or anything like that, I try and use also.
Your work, what I love about the abstract work is that it's bold, it's colorful, but when you get up close, you notice all these amazing details and words and phrases, and it's beautiful. What sizes? I have on the Art Dimensions website, I have the smaller abstracts, but behind you is a larger piece.
Oh yeah, I'll give you this one too. It's 24 by 24.
Is that the largest you're going with the abstract, or you're doing bigger?
I sold the other ones at the moment. They were 30 by 40. So
Okay.
I sold those, and I like to make more because I really love that size. And personally want to go bigger to like 4 by 5 as well. That just, to me, just feels like the most fun. It's just good.
Okay, so there's a painting behind Amy right now, and it'll be on my website as well. What's the title of that one?
It might be called What I Know for Sure, because there's a little piece of magazine that you can see in it that says that, and I think I used that.
Can you tell us about some of the murals you've created around town?
I started doing murals like 3 years ago, but it was very slow starting. I didn't know how to transition my work honestly into something that was different than what other people were doing. So I started out just doing like stencil work, and then paste up, like we paste, and it's been a great transition of just learning that avenue too. And it really kind of culminated around COVID, when we were all inside, and at the beginning of COVID, there was an artist and a nonprofit called Art Share LA, and Jeremy Novi was the artist that kind of spearheaded like the group of us.
And I know Jeremy because
Do
he
you?
painted,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he painted a utility box, as have you, in Sherman
Oh,
Oaks.
okay. Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure because he's back in San Francisco right now, but when he was here, he put together a group of artists that was a very diverse, like it was a great group because it was street artists in Los Angeles that we all came together and we started beautifying the city. So Art Share kind of worked with some businesses, tried to get approval. Some of them were approved and some of them were kind of just, they didn't mind maybe. Yeah, because it was when all the stores were boarded up for the majority of that time in the beginning, and we wanted to do two things. We wanted to create something for the community, something beautiful for the community, so that if they were doing, the only thing they could do is go out and walk or whatever, they were able to see something that wasn't so devastating and so upsetting. So we did want to do that, and then secondly, we wanted to share hopefully the conversation about how art is essential, and because a lot of that time it was being talked about like essential work and things like that, and the creative fields always get get pushed aside or not validated in a way. So we kind of wanted to share what we could and then have people share their reaction to what we were doing, which was, we had a lot of positive reactions and a lot of upliftment. I felt like came from that around such a time that it was much needed.
Can you tell us a couple of locations? Are they still?
One in Redondo Beach is still going. I did two on Melrose illegally, just separately from that. But again, it was boarded up. I talked to the guy that used to own the business or whatever. He was like, no, I'm not coming back to this or whatever. And so I just decided like I was gonna take over that spot, and I did a couple murals there. One of them was for Juneteenth, and then the other one was an equal pay mural.
Were they two female figures?
Holding their hands up, yeah.
Okay, it was made of collage and paint, or just?
That one was paint and stencil It was a stencil pattern that I introduced.
So cool. I love your work.
But the equal pay one was collage, yeah. So
Yeah.
that one was 8 foot by 8 foot, and I created like a digital design, and a friend of mine and I went up and we collaged it in pieces and then put the stencil on top, and that was really amazing. That was an awesome experience.
How long did it take you to complete that?
We got it done pretty quickly. I think like 3 hours, 4 hours, one night, and then we went back in the morning and fixed it up for a couple hours, like maybe 2 hours.
Wow. Do you ever get painter's block? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Well, I guess I thought I had painter's block, and then I started doing abstract stuff. So I think it's just switching gears for a minute, and then also looking up, some of these other artists, or watching on YouTube, like art assignment, like videos are pretty good. One of my friends' abstract classes, like online class, just to see what, how she was teaching it, and
so switching gears helps you to break down that block.
Get in a sketchbook and just make mine. Do like stuff that no one's ever gonna see and doesn't need to.
But that gets the juices flowing.
I think when there's no demand or when there's no expectation on something, you can just play and be like, oh, no one ever needs to see this, and that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I want to wrap up a little bit, and I want to ask you, what's the message behind your work? Yeah, I mean, what do you hope people will get from your paintings? Besides feeling uplifted, inspired, motivated. certainly with the digital illustrations, the portraits, but is there anything else you want people to get from your work?
I want to expand upon the idea of just being seen and being heard and being validated as an individual that matters. I struggled with that in my own life, and I feel like if I can do that for other people, then that's good enough for me. Like I feel like if people can be validated and feel good, and also feel a sense of like how they want to feel, like a future feeling, instead of feeling like they're stuck in whatever reality that they feel at the moment, and just kind of project them into the future of possibility. I think that those would be two things.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Amy. This was fun and totally, I feel very inspired and motivated to take on Hump Day. I'm really glad you decided to be a guest on the Art Dimensions podcast today.
Oh, of course, anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to mention, well, you can follow Amy on Instagram at Amy Smith Art, and then there's at Art Dimensions as well. So to Amy and all the listeners out there, happy Hump Day and happy creating.